master farm family.
First up today on AGetc, we honor another KSU master farm family, the McClures. Meet Willard and John. Then K-State Grain Market Economist Dan O'Brien talks about how the tariffs with China will affect the soybean grain market if U.S. and why China cannot come up with an agreement. And we finish with Horsing Around, where Lee Hart teaches you how to get your horse used to a water box. Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Though he didn't spend his entire youth in the Stafford area, Willard McClure became a fixture in Stafford County agriculture early on. Before finishing their schooling at Kansas State University, Willard and his high school sweetheart Phyllis decided to marry and return to the farm. Willard and his father were among the earliest to adopt crop irrigation in their area, and as the McClures steadily grew their cropping operation, Willard took on key leadership positions. He was instrumental in the creation of the local groundwater management district, and he frequently traveled abroad, promoting Kansas-produced grain sales as a longtime board member for the Corn Growers Association. For her part, Phyllis worked off the farm for over 30 years, while helping tend to the farming as well. Following an extended illness, Phyllis passed away this past December, spending her last months in the farmhouse she and Willard shared for over 60 years. Their children, Doug, Cindy, and John, have all had a hand in McClure Farms, John a full-time partner in the operation. He joins Willard to reminisce.
I was born in Wellington. Dad was working in the flour mill there in 1930. And I don't know, time-wise, I forget, but my granddad slipped and fell, who owned this place. He died from that accident, so that left the farm in void of management. So there were four kids in Mom's side, 2 girls and 2 boys, and they decided among them that Dad would come out here and take over the farm plus the farm out east. I finished up high school in '49. I went on to K-State for, a year and a half, and Dad was busy trying to keep this all going. He'd picked up some more, so not knowing for sure what I wanted to do, I decided to come back and help him. And we worked together here on the farm. I met my wife in high school. She was the same year that I was. Her family came down from Hoisington, and her granddad homesteaded south of Stafford. And her dad bought a quarter north of that, and they lived there. Then in '51, we decided, the heck with it, we'll get married. So, you know how young kids are. We started out and we came home on the farm. And then I decided with a couple other guys in the community that were buddies, decided to go into the service. And I came back to the farm in '55, planted a bunch of feed for cattle, and as you remember, '55 was one of the dry years. And in the meantime, I got interested in irrigation because I could see the benefits of it. And Dad and I had talked about it, and we decided to put a well in '57.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Paul from PFI.
We would like to personally invite you to stop by PFI, home of Boot Daddies.
PFI is America's Western store, covering over 50,000 square feet.
Over 25,000 boots.
Visit Saddle City with the largest selection of saddles and tack anywhere.
A huge selection of hats at Big Spur Hat Company in PFI Town.
And choose from the best brands of clothing and accessories for the entire family.
PFI, located on Highway 65 at the Battlefield exit in Springfield. And I'm not kidding.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Wheat. Learn more at rediscoverwheat.org.
In the meantime, Phil, because of financial needs, she decided she'd go help out. She worked in the extension office after high school, and then she moved on to the feedlot. They had just completed the feedlot, and they were looking for individuals. We continued to grow the farm. We changed from hand move to drag move irrigation, and she changed jobs and went to work as a legal secretary for a friend of ours in St. John.
Which she did for some 30 years, is that correct?
Oh, yeah,
roughly?
she was there for quite a while. She done all the tax work and things of that nature, and because of that, she was the one that pretty much run the farm. When she came, she was busy taking care of the books and cooking and keeping us all running, and a fantastic individual to take it on, and she worked her tail off, and I really appreciated what she done.
John, we'll let you bring it up to present day then, because you are obviously a full partner with your dad in McClures Farms, and you're running a little over 2,000 acres or so of crop ground, and it's not quite half and half, irrigated and non-irrigated, but pretty close. And there's been a commitment on a couple of points, and one is irrigation, the other is conservation practices.
I think my brother deserves the credit, as I mentioned earlier, for switching us over to this newfangled thing called center pivots. Doug's work really kind of spurred the decision to go into more irrigation, whereas you were just primarily raising it to supplement your feeding operation. As we know, the Ogallala and the High Plains Aquifer, as we're known now in this area, Dad served the GMD board. You guys went to Topeka and helped petition to get that set up, if I recall
I can't
correctly.
recall who was the head chief engineer, but they come up with the idea of self-rule. There was a board formed of a number of individuals across the county, and we addressed the problems that we saw and then sent it on to the chief engineer to be implemented.
You and Phyllis did so many other things on top of all of that, locally, extension work, church work, youth group support, and we can't get into all of that, but how did you balance all of these other farming and farm-related activities with your community activities, Willard?
Well, we picked out those things that we thought were beneficial to the community. I served on the extension, of course on the water. I served as chair of 2 elevators. We both felt like that the church was a very important thing for us as well as our kids. We benefited as well as they did by meeting other people in other communities.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Welcome to the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collection, where we feature my renowned artwork, frontier military, and Native American artifacts. In the painting behind me is Scouting the Trail. Two scouts overlook the Smoky Hill River Valley just north of the famous Monument Rocks, which are internationally renowned, as a column of 7th Cavalry parade north of the river. On this point, two scouts rode in a circle, and there were 18 cartridges found up there, and that meant that they usually were warning of impending danger and firing off their weapons. One of those weapons I feature in the gallery, a Spencer weapon, which we featured in the painting. Very unique and very honored to showcase this to you.
Welcome to Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in Oakley, Kansas on I-70 at exit 76. I-70, after all, is America's Main Street, and we're right here on Main Street for you. Now that I'm an Oakley resident, I still come in almost every day, and I sit and listen to the conversations of the people around me. You know, the guys who are talking about the big elk they just bagged, or the folks who are taking their kid to college for the first time. People just traveling up and down the highway. Real people, just like you and me. And they find just what I find here, real people to serve them. There's history, there's scenery. We hope you'll stop and see us soon. Welcome to Oakley.
This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
And that's a great segue to finish off here by talking about your kids, and we've already mentioned them here and there within our conversation. Doug is now a lawyer, or has been a lawyer, or has his law degree, put it that way, but is in the banking business.
He decided to buy a bank at Florence, Colorado. He started in there and branched out and built a new bank building in Colorado Springs, and he and his wife now are in Colorado Springs.
And Cindy is also still involved in the farm to an extent,
Right.
although she's retired and heavily traveling, you say.
Right. She caught up with this individual we talked about from Chicago, Tim Jacobson. And from there, they moved to Phoenix. He was the FBI agent there, and they spent a number of years before retiring and traveling the country and working for Habitat Humanity.
And then there's this young fellow over here, John.
Yeah, I didn't know quite for sure what he was going to do.
Neither did I.
But he got a scholarship in track and went to Oklahoma State. We were proud of him. He worked hard for it, finished at Oklahoma, and decided he'd be a...
Still had school loans, so I could either get a job or stay in school to defer my loans, and I was still trying to help Dad. We had come through the 80s. I remember I was down in Stillwater in about 86, 87, and you came down and said that things were pretty tight, and so we did some planning and some changes. So I started to take over some of the marketing responsibilities at that time, and learned how important cash flows and balance sheets were, and so we navigated through the 80s. I got my master's at K-State and worked for a couple of years down in Argonia, met my wife, Rhonda, and drug her out here.
We'll finish up, Willard, by asking you to reflect on what it means to you and Phyllis to be named a Master Farm Family.
I never dreamed I'd be a candidate for that honor. I'm humbled. I want to say that I appreciate it. All in all, God has blessed us in many ways, and I thank Him for that, and I will look ahead and be grateful for that honor.
Willard and Phyllis McClure, Kansas Master Farm Family, class of 2017.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help? How can we help?
Heinen Brothers, a fourth-generation Northeast Kansas farm family, knows how tough farming can be. Farmers helping farmers. Heinen Brothers Ag, selling and servicing crop protection products, fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, cover crops, quality aerial and ground application. Call today to learn about our extended term financing program. 800-760-4964. HeinenBrothersAg.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
When you look at the numbers, China has to import about 97 million metric tons of soybeans a year. They use about 111. All of South America anticipated in the 17-18 marketing year to export about 85 million metric tons. So with that might move up some, but so 97 versus 85, China could, if China took all of South American soybeans, they'd still be short. So what we've kind of touched off, I think, is a remix and shifting of the flows of soybeans. Now, granted, if you try to quantify, well, what's a 25% tariff on soybeans? What's that do? Well, it puts the U.S. at a price disadvantage for those people out of China, those companies that are seeking to buy soybeans. So what do? The first place they go to South America, and that's a problematic deal for them this year. There's a significant drought in Argentina, so you've shifted then the focus of China's buying to Brazil. If this business shifts, and we've seen market reports that it has from China to Brazil, they're suddenly trying to pull out of a situation where they already have port congestion and other issues. So suddenly you've got China with all its attention mainly at Brazil because Argentina doesn't have that much, and the other buyers in the world see, gosh, that's pretty high prices, and we're not paying this tariff, so we'll come back to the United States. Mm-hmm. So you're reshifting the flow of business around. Overall, I think in the bigger picture, I even with that reshifting, still when you'll have added a tariff onto whatever China still has to buy from the U.S., you've in a balance, kind of a mixed average deal, you've raised the price of soybeans on the world market, and for buyers, some paying tariff, others not, and with that you do cut back. There'll be some moderate to marginal decrease in the amount of soybeans sold on the market. This is sort of the last big ag card to lay on the table in these negotiations, and it's important, I think, to realize that this is an announcement of what would happen if negotiations that are forecast or anticipated to end in May don't end up with some type of an agreeable compromise for both parties.
The new Better Horses Network is worldwide, presented by Lucas Oil, featuring worldwide radio and TV with iconic hosts like Al Dunning, Sharon Camarillo, Ernie Rodina, Lindy Birch, and Craig Cameron. With American Cowboy, Horse and Rider, Brushy Creek, Cavenders, and Ride TV. Worldwide radio and TV, the all-new Better Horses Network.
I was in an accident where I fell off a roof. I took the conventional route by
using medicine, and I went to see numerous doctors. I found that it really wasn't working as well as I had hoped it would. I don't know why I started to research stem cells, but I did. And I visited with the doctors. They were excellent. I had my neck done, I had my shoulders done, I had a section of my back done, my hips, my sacrum, my sciatica, and my tailbone. But it wasn't really that painful. I was surprised at how easily it was done. It took me approximately 4 hours from the beginning to the end. Now I am having better range of motion in my arms and my neck and my back. So it's been very beneficial to me, and I want to thank Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. It was a long road to get there, but I'm so glad that I found them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
One of the biggest issues I see with obstacle horses is people are having trouble with water boxes, and typically it's because of how they went about introducing a water box for the horse. I've got a little black water box here in front of us. We've set it up just like the other obstacles that are in this segment, and we're going to flow between the wall and the obstacle here. So as I'm flowing through there, if he goes to look at it or glance at it, I'm going to bring my legs on him and bring his attention back to me even more. I don't want to let my horses get in a habit of really looking around. I want my horse to think about where I'm driving him to and where we're at. It's up to me in this relationship to help this horse through it. Every time I let him start gawking around, I'm letting this horse take control of his feet. And he doesn't want to do that. He wants me to be a good leader for him. And he says, I will be an amazing follower. But when we start asking them to be the leaders, they start finding trouble. So I don't want to allow him to find that trouble. So as I turn him across here this time, big release. He's doing an amazing job. He should. He's spent his life on the ranch, and he's crossed creeks and ditches and all of those things and actually earned a living. But that doesn't mean it'll always go that way. You can see he's stepping through really confident. I wouldn't have started with this obstacle by no means, but I'm really glad that he's saying, yes, I can do it. So you see, I spread my hands out wide, my legs are on, and I'm asking him through it. There we go. Big release to help him. And I would get this horse to where when I was coming to a water box on a dry one, that he's confidently going through it before I ever added water. And probably the first thing I'd add is like some cut up hoses and things like that, and I would take it in steps as I'm helping to build confidence in this horse. And after I'd added some hoses and he is flowing through it, then I would ask him to step through it with just a little bit of water, just enough to change the bottom of the water box, and just keep building up so you keep building confidence. That way you don't send him to something and instantly he says, I'm not able to do this. So you can see he's kind of flowing through. I might even enter here and come across, and he's just being real confident and good. And I can't gripe at him a bit. We're going to bring Allison over now. Her horse is a little more reactive than Diesel is, and we'll see how she goes about it. So if she comes through there and she really starts watching, bring your legs on her and push her forward. And then a big release on the backside. That was a really nice job. You can kind of tell that this horse is just a little more tense about it, but she's actually doing a really good job. Looking nice. So if you feel like she's relaxed this time, go ahead and turn across the center. As we're presenting these obstacles, we need to be prepared as we turn them to it. If she needs to jump, she should be allowed to jump. But what's wonderful about obstacles, just by introducing the ground, the deadfall, and the bridge, and then coming to this water box, this dry box, we've already built confidence up in her, and she's trusting us right now. Trust is the key. They need to trust us enough to allow us to have control of their feet. You can see she's licking and chewing. I'd go ahead and I'd head straight through it. Now if we had come up here and we'd started presenting this and trying to make this happen, instead of allowing this horse time to process around this obstacle, we could have gotten a fight. And if there's one thing I can teach the general public out there is avoid a fight at all cost. We do not want to fight with our horse. We redirect negative energy into positive energy. Let's do it one more time, Allison. That's looking really good. She's dropping her head, she's targeting, and when I say targeting, that means that she's knowing that that is the answer. She's starting to hunt the answer, and we want our horses hunting the answer. Not being afraid to make a mistake. Through mistakes comes success.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.